Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I am going to answer software testing interview question 171. That is, what is Scrum? Let me answer. Scrum is one of the methodologies under Agile. The projects which are following Agile SDLC model may choose any of the methodologies. These methodologies are also known as frameworks. Okay, what are these different Agile methodologies or frameworks we have that projects may choose? They are Scrum methodology, Kanban, Lean, Extreme Programming, Crystal, FDD, TSDM methodology. Okay, Scrum is one of the agile methodologies or frameworks. Okay, that agile projects may follow. So, Scrum is the number one. Okay, compared to other agile methodologies, most of the projects which are choosing or following agile SDLC model will choose Scrum as the methodology or framework. Okay, so compared to other ones, Scrum is the number one, guys. Okay, it's the popular one, popular and number one. Okay, then followed by Kanban is the next number and followed by others. Fine. So now let's understand in this session. This session is all about agile Scrum methodology. Let me explain about or make you understand about Scrum. Okay, so let me expand this. You will see a diagram here. So I'm going to explain this diagram for you. It's very simple, guys, though it looks complex here, but it's very simple to understand Scrum. So let's get started with this understanding of Scrum. The work in Scrum, that is agile methodology Scrum, will happen in the form of iterations. Okay, let's say this is the first iteration. The work will happen in the form of iterations. What is an iteration? Iteration in agile Scrum is actually known as sprint. Okay, there is a name for the iteration. This one iteration, let's say this is iteration one. Iteration is nothing but known as sprint. Okay, so there is a word for iteration, that is sprint. So after first iteration is completed, then second iteration will start. After the first iteration is completed, then second iteration 2 will start. It is also known as sprint only, right? Every iteration in agile Scrum methodology projects are known as sprints. So sprint is time bound, guys. Okay, so okay, it's some duration will be there. Okay, the duration of this iteration of sprint is 1 to 4 weeks. Okay, in agile, 1 to 4 weeks in agile methodology. Okay, following projects, uh, work will happen in the form of iterations, that is iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3, iteration 4, iteration 5, and so on. Okay, and each and every iteration here is known as sprint, and sprint will have some duration. The duration of the sprint is 1 to 4 weeks. The duration of the sprint is 1 to 4 weeks. Ideally, guys, most of the projects in the market follow 2 weeks as a sprint duration. Okay, ideally it's a 2 weeks. Most of the projects in the market which are following the agile SDLC model, agile Scrum methodology, in agile SDLC model will have the sprint duration as 2 weeks. Sprint is nothing but an iteration, okay, which is having this duration. So work will happen, okay, whatever the work that has to be completed, that work assigned to the sprint will be completed by the end of the sprint. Again, for the next sprint, next set of work will be assigned, and that work also should be completed by the end of the next sprint or next iteration, and so on. This is how the work happens in agile Scrum methodology. Fine. Here, before any of the work starts, before any of this work starts, guys, in the form of iterations or sprints, first of all, there will be one person known as product owner. Okay, so there will be a person known as what? Product owner. Who is a product owner? The one who knows the business, who knows the business, and who drives the project in the business wise. Okay, who drives the project business wise. So there is a role known as product owner, guys. The product owner is a role in agile Scrum methodology following projects where this person is responsible for business side. Okay, so what the product owner will do? Let me show you this diagram now. What the product owner will do in this agile Scrum methodology. As you can see in this diagram, guys, before any iteration starts, the product owner will get ready with this product backlog, a list of requirements. Okay, the product backlog he will prepare. What the product owner will do? What are the duties of the product owner? Product owner creates what? Product backlog. Lot of terminologies will come now, guys. Okay, so we have to understand. So product owner will prepare or create a product backlog. What does product backlog will contain? What does this particular product backlog that is created by product owner will contain? Since the product owner knows the business well, okay, since the product owner knows the business well, product owner is the right person to create the user stories. that is requirements. The product owner is the right person to create the requirements, that is actually called as user stories in the agile Scrum methodology. Okay. So in this product backlog, it's like a bucket, guys. Product backlog is like a bucket. In the product backlog, let's say product backlog will look like bucket. In this bucket, what will be put? All the requirements, requirement 1, requirement 2, requirement 3, that all the requirements of the software that need to be developed and tested, okay, by the team who are working on this sprints, okay, will be put into the product backlog. So here each and every requirement is called as, there is a terminology for this, each and every requirement is known as user story. What is user story? User story is a small chunk of requirement. Instead of giving a complete BRS document, here requirements will be broken down by the product owner who knows the business well into smaller pieces or chunks known as small chunk of requirements. Okay, known as the name of this requirement. Small chunks of requirements are known as user stories. Like that, multiple user stories will be maintained by product owner in this product backlog, and each and every, okay, this each and every requirement here, smaller chunk of requirement is nothing but a user story. This is a product backlog where the product owner will put all this. This actually looks like a document, guys, in real time. This product backlog looks like a document where the list of stories will be mentioned. If in case of tools like Jira, right, this is a tool. Okay, you know the tool, right? Like each and every item can be added to the tool. Okay, like that. Fine. Once the product owner prepares this product backlog containing the list of user stories, which are small chunks of requirements, then what is the next step the product owner will do? What is the next activity of the product owner? Product owner will conduct a meeting known as sprint planning meeting. Okay. First meeting will be conducted. Okay. Sprint planning meeting. Product owner, the next activity of the product owner after preparing the product backlog is product owner will conduct a meeting known as sprint planning meeting. Who will attend this meeting? First of all, the one who is creating the meeting, that is a product owner, right? Product owner is the one who is arranging the meeting. Along with the product owner, who will attend this meeting? Agile team. Agile team means all the developers and testers in the team. Okay. We can also call that as in Agile, we generally call the Agile team as development team. Okay. Development team means not only developers, but also testers also will be there. Okay. Generally, we call that as development team or Agile team. Anything which is a combination of developers and testers will be there in this team. So product owner will conduct a meeting with the Agile team, and in this meeting, the product owner will put all the stories. Okay, on the plate, the product owner will put the list of stories that need to be completed in one of the sprint. Whatever the sprint that the product owner has to start next, in that particular sprint, in that duration, that is 2 weeks of duration, whatever the stories the Agile team has to complete, all those stories will be put on the table by the product owner in front of the Agile team, and they will have a discussion whether the stories can be completed or not in this sprint. Okay. If the Agile team accepts the stories that were put on the table by the product owner, then what is the next activity the product owner will do? Product owner will, uh, you see, whatever the list of stories that are selected, right, for a particular sprint and put in, discussed in the meeting, right, and accepted by the Agile team, right, that stories will be assigned by the product owner to the a backlog known as, this is a product backlog, sprint backlog. There will be one more backlog known as sprint backlog. Okay. So whatever the stories that can be assigned to the sprint will be assigned to the stories, user stories, user stories accepted by Agile team in the sprint planning meeting. Okay. User stories accepted by Agile team in the sprint planning meeting. I'll show you this in the diagram, guys. What is sprint backlog? I'll show you. As you can see in this diagram, guys, you see here the product owner will conduct a meeting known as sprint planning meeting. To this meeting, who will attend? The development team, that is Agile team, the all the people who are going to work, that is developers and testers who are going to work on the sprint, one of the sprint, right? That's one of the iteration, right? They will attend the meeting with the product owner. Once the development team, that is Agile team, accepts the stories that were put by the list of stories that can be completed in the sprint suggested by product owner and accepted by development team, right? That user stories will be moved from the product backlog. Product backlog contains a lot of user stories. Out of that, whatever the user stories that are accepted by the development team to be completed in one of the sprint, right, that stories will be moved to the sprint backlog. As you can see in this diagram, here is a sprint backlog. Okay. From the product backlog, product owner will move the stories accepted by development team in the sprint planning meeting to the sprint backlog. Once the stories got assigned to the sprint backlog, what the product owner will do? The next thing is the product owner will start the sprint. Okay. Once the stories got moved from product backlog to the sprint backlog, then product owner will start the sprint. Start the sprint. That is the next activity. First activity is create product backlog. Next activity is to conduct sprint planning meeting with the agile team. After the stories have been accepted to be by the agile team, that stories will be assigned to the sprint backlog. That is the third activity. Fourth activity is to start the sprint. So who has to work on the sprint? The agile team has to work on the sprint with the list of accepted stories by them, which are in the sprint backlog. Okay, from the sprint backlog, all the stories will be picked by the agile team here. And by the end of the sprint, that is by the end of the 2 weeks, all the stories need to be completed. Okay, by the end of the sprint, all the stories need to be completed. In 2 weeks, whatever the work that is assigned in the form of stories by the product owner to the agile team as part of the sprint, by the end of the sprint, all the work need to be completed by the agile team, that is developers and testers. Okay, so far clear na? So, and also there is one more thing, guys. Okay, while the sprint is going on, okay, while this iteration, for example, I'll zoom in this iteration. Let's say this is one of the iteration. Let's say this is iteration one, and this side we have the sprint backlog, where the accepted stories by the agile team are available. Sprint backlog, where the stories which are accepted by the accepted stories by agile team are available. Okay, and this is starting of the sprint, this is ending of the sprint, this is the sprint, guys. Let's say this is the first sprint, so I'll say iteration one. The duration of this sprint is like, let's say 2 weeks. Assume that 1 to 4 weeks can be there, but let's take an example like 2 weeks. You see 2 weeks means how many working days? 10 working days, right? So 1 working day, 2 working day, third working day, fourth working day, fifth working day, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and finally 10. Total 10 working days. 1, 2, 3. By the end of these 10 working days, the work has to be completed. All the stories that are assigned to the sprint backlog need to be completed. The work should be finished. All these requirements need to be developed and tested by the end of the sprint. That's what is the funda. Okay. So 10 working days. If 2 weeks is a sprint duration, then 10 working days. So every day to cross check where the team is standing, a meeting will be conducted. The name of the meeting is daily stand up meeting, also known as daily scrum meeting. You can call it anything, guys, either daily stand up meeting or daily scrum meeting. Who will conduct this meeting? Every day, guys. It's not just in the first day. Second day also this meeting will be conducted. Third day also this meeting. Every day this meeting will be conducted to check the progress of the team. Okay, whether they will be able to complete these assigned stories by the end of the sprint. Someone has to cross check. For that, for cross checking every day at one point of time, that is for around 15 minutes max. Okay, not more than 15 minutes, guys. In that meeting, all this agile team will be standing, guys. Okay, they will not be sitting. All the agile team will be standing in this meeting, and in that meeting, right, in the daily stand-up meeting or daily scrum meeting, as you can see in this diagram, the second meeting here, in orange color, is nothing but daily scrum meeting or daily stand-up meeting. So in this daily stand-up meeting, all the agile team, that is development team, will be standing. That is testers and developers will be standing. But who will be conducting this meeting? Who will be conducting this daily stand-up meeting every day at same time at 50 for 15 minutes? Who will conduct this meeting? There is another role known as Scrum Master. Okay, there is another role known as Scrum Master. The Scrum Master is the one who is going to conduct the meeting. Okay, the Scrum Master is the one who is going to conduct the meeting. Okay, let me scroll down like this. Okay, there is a one known as Scrum Master who will be conducting this meeting every day with the Agile team and discuss on what is the current status of the project. Okay, what is the current status of your work? Every person in the Scrum daily stand-up meeting will be standing and will be giving their right current status, like what work they are doing. Are they behind or are they forward, or how much work is pending, how much work has been completed? All this kind of stuff will be discussed in the meeting by the Scrum Master with the Agile team. Okay, as part of the daily stand-up meeting or Scrum meeting. So here you see there is a Scrum Master here. The Scrum Master will be conducting this daily stand-up meeting with the development team and discussing on what has been completed, what has not been completed, what is the current status, are there any blockers, how much is pending, how much work is completed, are we on track or not? whether we can complete all the stories by the end of the sprint or not. Such kind of things will be discussed in the daily stand-up meeting every day. Okay, so that is daily stand-up meeting. Now, every day the agile team, that is development and testing team, will complete the work. As the days pass on, the final day will come where 10th day will happen. Okay, so before this final day is completed, the last day is completed, there will be one more meeting conducted known as sprint review meeting. Sprint review meeting. Who will be conducting this meeting? Product owner will be conducting this meeting. Okay, so what will happen in the sprint review meeting? The third meeting, you see, is a sprint review meeting. So in sprint review meeting, what will happen is the agile team, okay, by the end of this sprint, right, agile team will complete all the stories, right? The development and testing of these user stories that are assigned to sprint backlog will be completed by the end of the sprint. So agile team, what they will do is they will demo the user stories. Okay, whatever the work the agile team has completed by the end of the sprint, right, that work will be demonstrated, okay, by the to the product owner. Because why the agile team is demonstrating their work to the product owner here? Because product owner is the one who knows the business well. Product owner is the one who knows the business well. So product owner is the right person to cross check whether the agile team has done the work in a proper way or not. Okay, as per the given requirements and all specified in the user stories by the product owner, the same way the agile team has done the work or not, product owner will verify. If the work has been done as expected, then product owner will accept the work. Accept the work. If the work is accepted, then only the stories will be completed, guys. Otherwise, stories will not be moved to the done state. In order for the stories need to be completed, they need to be accepted by the product owner. Product owner will only accept when the demo by the agile team is satisfied by the product owner. Then only product owner, once satisfied, only will accept the, he or she will accept the user stories as completed. Okay, that is what is the process of accepting that user stories work done by the agile team or development team is known as sprint review meeting. The meeting in which it will happen is a sprint review meeting, and once accepted, the sprint will end. Okay, sprint ends here. One of the sprint will end. Whatever the amount of work that is assigned to this 2 weeks of duration is completed once the work is accepted by the product owner as part of the sprint review meeting. Okay, but is the story ended? No. The next sprint will start, right? After this sprint is over, this is iteration 1. The next sprint will start. Next iteration 2 will start. Sprint 2 will start. Iteration 2, another 2 weeks. Again, the same process will repeat. The same process will repeat where product owner will pick some of the user stories from the product backlog and conduct a sprint planning meeting with the development team again for the next sprint. Okay, where whatever the stories that are again accepted by the development team for sprint 2, that is iteration 2, will be assigned to the sprint backlog of the iteration 2 or sprint 2. And again, the next 10 working days, the team will be working on the stories. And every day daily stand up meeting will happen, daily scrum meeting will happen. Scrum master is the one who will take care of the meeting. And at the end of the sprint, again, those stories which are completed will be demonstrated to the product owner in the sprint review meeting. And product owner need to accept. If accepted, the sprint will end. Okay, so this is what will repeat, guys. Iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3, sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3, the work will go on. Okay, it's a continuous process. But guys, in between the sprints, you see, between the sprint 1 and sprint 2, sprint 2 and sprint 3, sprint 3 and sprint 4, here there will be one more meeting conducted in between. Okay, before the iteration 2 starts, sprint 2 starts. Okay, there will be one more meeting conducted, guys. What is this meeting? This meeting is known as sprint retrospective meeting. Sprint retrospective meeting. What is this meeting all about? You see, already sprint is completed. The product owner has accepted the user stories, whatever the work that is done by the agile team. Sprint ended. Next sprint has to start. But what is the use of this meeting in between the sprint 1 and sprint 2, or sprint 2 and sprint 3? Why this meeting is required? In this meeting, guys, the agile team, along with the scrum master and all other members, okay, what they will do in this meeting is they will discuss about what went, okay, what went well in the sprint, in the whatever sprint that is completed, what went well in that particular sprint, what didn't went well. They'll also discuss what didn't went well in that. Okay, so based on what went well and what didn't went well, improvements to be made for next sprints will be discussed. Okay, the mistakes that should not be repeated and the improvements that has to be next done for the next sprint, so that in the next sprint the work should become more better than the current sprint. All these things will be discussed in the sprint retrospective meeting. What went well, what didn't went well, what are the improvements to be made, what mistakes should not be repeated for the next sprint. All those things will be discussed in the sprint retrospective meeting, which is another meeting, a sprint retrospective meeting. So this is what is a agile scrum all about. Okay, agile scrum methodology. So this how the work will happen in agile scrum methodology, guys, in the form of iterations. Okay, different roles will be product owner, scrum master, and agile team, that is development team. And different meetings that will be conducted are sprint planning meeting, daily stand-up meeting, that is daily scrum meeting also, sprint review meeting, and sprint retrospective meeting. So this is what is all about. Okay, the agile scrum methodology. So hope guys you got the answer for what is scrum in this session. So that's all for this session. In the next session I'm going to answer another software testing interview question for you. Till then, see you, bye bye.